welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MCDFNL Footy Show for another week, the second half of our round 14 edition of the Footy Show, of course, with the split round still very much in play this week. Great to have you joining us once again here on the MCDFNL website. Sean Kelly's my name. Joining me, as he does every week, my co-host Sam Gowers. Sammy, welcome back to the Footy Show, mate.
Thanks, mate. Glad to be back after a pretty big weekend of MCDFNL action.
It has been a pretty big weekend. Only 3 games in play last weekend, but 2 of them have provided pretty big talking points for us this week. Starting it off with the Maldon Footy Club saluting the judges for the first time this year. Congratulations to everyone involved with the Bombers, defeating Campbell's Creek and getting their first win on the board. Didn't do it the easy way, shot out to a good lead at half-time, but then literally hung on in the second half. They only kicked 1 goal after half-time. Was enough, though, to get the job done. Campbell's Creek just couldn't quite get over the line. Well done to the Bombers. Well deserved for all their efforts throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just goes to show what can happen, I suppose, when blokes stick together in tough times. But like you said, 1 goal after half-time. Luckily, Maldon had a big start. I think 5 goals in the first quarter. Yeah, 4 in the first quarter, 7 up until half-time. So that got them going on. What we saw was, apart from the last quarter out at Avoca where Trentham kicked 10 goals, it was a pretty low-scoring day all around. Yeah, absolutely. Very low-scoring weekend, which brings us probably to our second talking point, I guess.
Certainly does. Beautiful segue as well.
You've just, I just pinched one off you there.
You pinched that nicely there, but we'll take that because you talk about 5-goal first quarters and you talk about low-scoring games. It happened out at Royal Carisbrook last weekend as a 5-goal-0 first quarter was enough to give Carisbrook a big, big win in the context of the seasons. I put my teeth back in. Overcoming Navarre, Navarre's second loss for the season. And what does this tell us about these teams? Does it tell us that Carisbrook are now a genuine premiership contender, or does it tell us that Navarre are a little bit off the pace to what they were 12 months ago? Or does it tell us that Navarre may be just keeping something up their sleeve for what could be a future appearance against Carisbrook?
I think what it shows, Sean, is Navarre's probably come back to the pack a little bit. In previous years, they've been far and away the favourites. We see Royal Park on top of the ladder this year, haven't dropped a game. Navarre in second, and just shows that Carisbrook's closing that gap as well after a slow start to the season.
What it's also going to show us is that Navarre's likely going to play their first final outside of Princes Park since they lost to Newstead in 2014.
Yeah, well, that was actually the lowest score.
2013, sorry.
Lowest score Navarre's kicked since 2011 on the weekend against Carisbrook, so the Carisbrook defenders doing a nice job as well.
Yeah, it looks like Navarre now destined to finish no higher than second, and of course second and third to play at Hedges Oval in the first week of the finals.
Yeah, it should be
on Saturday.
Very interesting. If we go back to last week's show as well, I think you said Carisbrook were just going to put the queue in the rack for this one.
Yeah, I thought I did. So it looks like the other team might have put the queue in the rack if you look at it that way.
Fired the Redbacks up a little bit for the weekend.
I'll take credit for it.
I think it was all on you.
I think so as well. And of course, Jaden Hind having a big start to the game as well. I think he kicked 4 of Carisbrook's 9 goals on the day.
He did. Probably his best game so far for Carisbrook. He had a hand injury that kept him out for a big chunk of the season. So just starting to hit form at the right time of year.
Seems to be what's happening with Carisbrook at the moment. They've had a lot of players that have had injuries throughout the year, but they're starting to get them all back now, and boy, they're looking dangerous as a result.
Yeah, a bit of continuity going on into the finals should make them very dangerous.
Should make them dangerous indeed. Third talking point for the week is starting to put some dates in the diary because event season fast approaching with, of course, only really 3 weeks left in the home and away season. And the first event to put in the diary, ladies and gentlemen, is at the MCDFNL's Junior Presentation Night. Always a fantastic night where we celebrate the high achievers of the junior football and netball competitions for the year. So Monday the 29th of August, I believe. Well, it's the 29th of August. I think that's a Monday, going back and doing the math on it. But definitely on the 29th of August at the Maryborough Harness Racing Centre once again. A fantastic venue as it's been for the last couple of years. We'll have the barbecue there as always to give you a bit of a feed during the night. I think I might even lend my dulcet tones to the night once again as well. So
I have heard rumours you're MC.
Yeah, I think I started those rumours.
Yeah,
so
you told me just before.
I did indeed, that's correct. So should be a great night once again. Of course, we'll count through all the votes for the season. Be a great night to celebrate the high achievers of our junior football and netball league for another year. Straight into it this week, round 14, take 2. 4 games this weekend, only the 3 last weekend, so a shortened show this week, but good things come in small packages, and we'll make sure that we keep this short, sharp, and to the point for you. Denali taking on Royal Park at Deledio Reserve this week, of course, with Trentham winning last week, as we suspected the way that the finals would shape up. it's a pretty important game for Denali this week. It's not going to be an easy one, though, against the undefeated Bushy.
Yeah, we spoke last week about Denali having a pretty tough trot home towards the finals, and don't get tougher than this in the MCDFNL at the moment. Royal Park to win for me.
Yeah, Royal Park for mine as well. Denali did play pretty well against them earlier in the year at Hedges Oval, so they'll use that as a bit of a spark, and obviously knowing that they need some results to go their way in the next couple of weeks, and of course in this round as well, could really spur them to the line, but I don't think they'll be doing enough to get the job done.
Yeah, they did pull off an upset earlier in the season against Lexington as well, so they have shown that they're capable. Whether they're capable of beating a team like Royal Park remains to be seen, though.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a bit of a step up against Royal Park this year. Talbot taking on the Maryborough Rovers at the Talbot Rec Reserve. This is arguably game of the weekend because, actually, looking at it, they're all pretty good games this weekend, but this is going to be a ripper. This is really important for both teams because obviously Maryborough Rovers lose this, it really puts them in danger of missing the finals. Talbot want to win this just to kind of get some continuity going before the finals. They had the week off. Before that, they had the loss to Carisbrook, so they want to start getting that win on the board and really start rolling into these next few weeks to get themselves going before the finals and obviously lock away 5th or 6th spot.
Yeah, Talbot did have some nice continuity, there's that word again, going into the split round before that loss to Carisbrook. They want to recapture that form and a little bit of rivalry going on between these two teams at the moment because we saw Talbot pinch a win off Rovers in the opening game of the season, 1 point.
And we saw a couple of transactions between these two clubs in the off-season that may have made people a little bit upset too.
Yeah, so there should be plenty of feeling in this one. I think this probably is game of the round. I'm going to go for the Hawks.
Yeah, Hawks at home for mine as well. I just think they're going to be too strong in this one. Although, having said that, the Rovers can get up in games where we don't expect them to. So.
Yeah, they can. They've been pretty up and down this season, so it should be an interesting one.
They have indeed. Newstead taking on Harcourt at Newstead this week. Another of those games for the teams in the mix for that 7th and 8th spot. On form, you'd say Newstead, but again, Harcourt's been up and down as well, and you never really know which Harcourt's going to turn up, it's dangerous because you can't plan for them.
Yeah, two really unpredictable teams, these ones. Like you said, Newstead would start favourites, but we saw them drop that game to Maryborough Rovers a few weeks ago, so we know they can have their down days.
Yep.
And Harcourt can have their up, so it does depend which two sides turn up this weekend. I'm going to go for the Roos, but only just.
Yeah, I'm going for Newstead simply because it's at Newstead, and obviously even though Harcourt don't have to travel that far to get to Newstead, it's not that big an advantage, but yeah, it's just hard to tip between these two teams because they're so up and down, so you've kind of got to go with what you know and go with that home ground advantage.
Yeah, to, like you said, an up and down clash. Wouldn't be surprised for either team to win this.
Neither would I. Last game for the round, Lexington taking on Natty Bialaba at Lexington this weekend. Two top 6 teams, I should say, in action this weekend. Natty now with obviously that win last weekend for Carisbrook, needing to keep pace with the teams above them, and I suppose if they lose this game, they'll probably finish 4th and have to play Royal Park in the first final, which they won't want to do. They'll want to get this win against the Lexington team that's shown a bit of form in recent weeks this season, and I suppose another team that went in to had that game just before the split round against Newstead, where it was a really tough game for them. Had that split round, they'll go in and they'll be looking to, like Talbot, restart and get a bit of confidence going into these last 3 games.
Yeah, Natty going into this round as well had that game against Harcourt. Which they only just
3
won.
points or something.
Yeah, pinched it in the last few minutes. Brent Wardlock kicked a nice, handy goal to get the Swans over the line. Obviously, I'm going to go for Natty. Usually really close games between these two sides. Natty got the win earlier this season, and I think Lexington be desperate to sort of show that they're relevant to the final series in the top 4, but I'm going to go with the Swans.
Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, Lexington wanting to get one of these scalps it gives them a bit of confidence going if they are lucky enough to go into the second week of the finals as well, because they're going to have to face probably a Natty or a Carisbrook or Royal Park or one of those top 4 teams, and give them the confidence that they can say, well, hang on, we can win this and we can go into a preliminary final. And as we know, preliminary final day, anything can happen.
Yeah, should be maybe a couple of big inclusions for both sides. I think Jared Bateson nearly ready to come back from a hand injury for Natty.
Yep.
And Matt Brown missed last round with an ankle injury. Might see him back in action this weekend.
Yeah, that would be 2 huge, obviously, inclusions, the respective coaches for both sides. I've got to go with you in this one and tip Natty just because I feel they're in a little bit better form at the moment, but obviously Lexington quite capable of getting the job done here as well. That's everything we've got for this week, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned, only the 4 games this week. We'll be back to a full fixture of 7 rounds next week on the MCDFNL Footy Show. Thanks for joining us once again, Sammy.
Thanks, mate. Glad to be here.
Glad to be with you once again on the MCDFNL Footy Show as well. Until next week, we'll see you then.